Hey guys, just want to give a quick tutorial on how to use our in-house patient transport isolette. First things first, you want to make sure that you have the correct circuit and that it is set up correctly. And for this, we use the disposable infant breathing circuit, which can be found in the NICU PAR room with the Draeger and servo circuits on that bottom shelf. If it's already set up, you'll usually see it hanging on this hook here, and you'll follow it down to the side, left side on the bottom. If you're setting it up for the first time, there's only 3 ports to set up, so it's pretty easy. You've got your pressure gauge on the top. Your middle one is your patient connection, and then the bottom one is your expiratory valve connection. Obviously, the patient connection is the most obvious and easiest to set up, as it looks different and only fits that one spot. And these two obviously look very similar, at least at this point, but if you follow the exhalation valve line down, it should be connected to this exhalation valve here. And if you follow the pressure line up, it should connect to your patient Y right here. So just to verify, even if it's already set up, that those two connections are correct. From there, you will check your tanks, both your oxygen and your air. Make sure they're both at 1,000 psi or greater, and go ahead and open those up. Tank wrench is connected to the isolette at all times. We have the availability to do a quick connect and put these to the wall, so you shouldn't have to use your tanks when you're doing a prolonged procedure. However, when you plug them into the wall, definitely make sure that both of these switches are in the off position. If you don't, it will bleed from your tank or pull from your tank while you're still connected to the wall. And then when you go to disconnect from the wall, you're going to be sad that your tanks have bled out. So definitely make sure if you're plugged into the wall, you're turned off here and here. And honestly, that's a good idea anytime you're not using the isolette, is just to keep them in the off position at all times, just because you never know when a regulator may be leaking, even if it's just a little bit. So that being said, once you've checked your tanks, your circuits correctly put on, you can turn it on and you're ready to do some oxygen delivery. If you are just doing your basic high flow or low flow nasal cannula, on the left side right in front of the patient circuit, you'll have your flow meter and your blender. This blender will also adjust your FiO2 should you be on the CPAP or the vent side of the isolette. So you'll adjust that there should you need to. Down here on the bottom, you've got 2 things. You've got your vent / CPAP. And then over here, you've got your monitor. So that's where the bricks can usually plug in, and all the vitals for the patient will be there. Going back to the vent circuit, or vent machine, I should say, we got 2 modes. You can see there's a little toggle switch there, CPAP or cycle. Right now it's in CPAP mode, and as you can see by my pressure manometer, I got nothing going on. It's at 0. And even if I turn this PEEP CPAP knob either way, nothing is happening. So what you need to do before you either use it in CPAP or cycle mode is you need to come over here to your flow meters and turn them both on. And it's imperative that they're both on so that they blend your gases. And anywhere between 6 and 8 liters is generally pretty adequate for the NICU patient population. So now you can see on my manometer I have about a PEEP or CPAP of 5 going on there. And if I needed to adjust that for whatever reason, I would use this knob here. And it's a little unorthodox from your traditional knobs in that you turn it to the left to increase versus the right. So just make sure you follow that arrow there. Now, if they're intubated and need more support than just a CPAP, we'll switch it to the cycle, and you'll still adjust your PEEP with that toggle, but then you'll come down here to the max pressure, and that's where you're going to adjust your PIP. And same with the PEEP, you're going to turn it to the left to increase it and turn it to the right to decrease it. In the middle there, you've got your I time and your E time, and then there's a little equation right there that says 60 divided by rate minus I time equals your E time. So for whatever I time you deem necessary for your patient, you can plug that in with whatever rate that you want to achieve, and it will give you that I time that you need to dial in. So you get both the rate and the I time that you need for your patient. So when you go to set up a patient on this, definitely make sure both your flow meters are on, and then make sure your manometer is reading what you want to give before you put the patient on. And then once you get the patient placed on the circuit, double check that you're actually getting what you've set in or what you want to achieve. And definitely look at their vitals and make sure that that's adequate, especially when you're coming back from OR and they didn't previously have vent settings. You're kind of using your RT knowledge and trying to provide the best ventilatory support for that patient. So look at your vitals, look at your patient, listen to breath sounds if you've got that availability. There is a disposable stethoscope on the Isolette as well here, as well as anesthesia bag and mask, and then the self-inflating bag there should you need it. Also, just another little tip, when you unplug the Isolette initially from the outlet, it will alarm at you, letting you know the battery is activated. And in that case, you'll just hit this silence button right here and you will be able to go about your business. There's also suction down here. It is super loud. I'll turn on. So we try not to use that any more than absolutely necessary, but we will attach the patient suction here, and if we do end up using it, we replace that Lucan trap there. But very rarely do we do it in-house, just because it's such a quick trip usually. But it's there should you need it, and underneath there are usually some extra supplies should you need it, like extra Christmas trees or HMEs or something of that nature. Because there's also no heater on this circuit. But that covers about the basics of the in-house transport Isolette. So hopefully that helps you and gives you a better understanding